Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. Tonight this is going to be part 6 out of my Around the World horror series. So there's only 2 parts to go, so it's drawing to an end. I hope you've enjoyed it, what you've seen so far, and hopefully that this video will be no different. So today we're going to have a look at my UK/Irish horror collection. I've got a lot of movies here. It's one of my stronger collections, so I better get into it because I don't want to make this video too long. The first film we are going to have a look at is a very well-known film. This gained a lot of worldwide attention. It's directed by Danny Boyle, and this film is called 28 Days Later. It's a zombie/infected film. I've got no doubt that most of you have already seen this one, but if you haven't, I strongly recommend you go out there and see it. It is a very atmospheric horror film. It has a very end-of-the-world feel, which has been done numerous times, but I feel this is one of the better Armageddon sort of end of the world movies. If I have one criticism of it, I thought it got a little bit stupid halfway through when they get to the army base. But the start of the movie was perfect, and its atmosphere and the feel to it. And overall, a good film, but it could have been a little bit better. I wish they kind of stayed on the same plot as where it started, but they decided to go a different angle in the second half, and I felt it hurt it a little bit. But overall, very good film, very disturbing, very gory, and if you're a zombie infected kind of fan, then this is definitely one that you have to have. But I have no doubts that most of you have already got this one, because as I said, it's very well known. This is the sequel, 28 Weeks Later. Personally, I preferred this one over the first one. I felt that this one had a little bit more consistency to it. It stayed on pretty much one track. And overall, it's not a lot, but it is gorier. I feel that the gore is a little bit better. The mood isn't as serious as the first one, but each to their own. A lot of people have different sort of tastes, but as far as I'm concerned, I actually prefer this one a little bit more than the first one. But I really, really like both of them. This one is a very, very well-known British horror film once again. A lot of people on YouTube have been talking about this one very recently, and this one is Dog Soldiers, one of the best werewolf movies I've seen. The werewolves looked a little bit silly, but the scenes of suspense in this film were masterfully done, especially the scene where they're running away from the werewolves in the woods. I felt that scene was just perfect. And it pays homage to the film Zulu. Now, this is the last sort of film that you would think would pay homage to Zulu. If you're not familiar with Zulu, that was a British film made many, many years ago about this British army fighting off these Zulus. And I'm not going to give anything away in this film, but there is a scene that pays homage to that movie, and they even say that themselves. So, a very, very good werewolf movie, highly recommended if you haven't seen it already. Now this one, once again, a very well-known British horror movie. This is The Descent. Very claustrophobic sort of movie. A group of friends go caving and they become trapped there, and then they realise that they're not alone down there. These caves are home to some vicious creatures, and they have to fight for their lives to get out of here alive. Very, very good movie, very good atmosphere, and very suspenseful. This is The Descent Part 2. Now, this is a good film, but it had nothing different. It provided nothing new. It was pretty much the same sort of stuff as the first one, except it had different characters. The ending I thought was very stupid, but apart from that, if you're going to judge this film on its own, it was a very good film. But if you've seen the first one, it's not going to provide anything new. So that was my only criticism of the movie. The acting was decent, and this film was a little bit nastier. It had a little bit more gore. It had good atmosphere like the first one, but as I said, it just didn't really provide anything terribly new. So on its own, it's a very good movie. Could have had a better ending, but if you've seen the first one, then it's pretty much the same thing over. Next up, we've got a UK horror movie slash TV series. I say slash TV series because it's actually been marketed as a TV series. 6 episodes, and altogether it goes for an hour, 141 minutes, so just over 2 hours. So it's pretty much a movie. I don't know why they didn't market it as a movie, but they decided to chop it up into episodes, and this one is called Dead Set. Now this is a very cruel twist on the Big Brother game show. It features zombies. It's very nasty, very, very good gore. I have no idea why it's only rated 15 plus. I've seen a lot of R18 films here in Australia that are nowhere near as bad as this, and it's gore. So I don't know what the classification board are doing, but a very, very good movie. If you're into your zombie stuff, this is a must. And not a lot has been heard of this one, but yeah, it's very, very good. Next up, we've got a Christopher Smith film. This is called Creep, starring Franca Potente, one of my favourite actresses. She's a German actress. And this is about a monster who lives in the subway and stalks and devours anyone who comes into his home. Some really good suspense and some really good gore. We've got another Christopher Smith film. I actually preferred this film over Creep, and this is Severance. This is a very nasty horror comedy. Starts off with a few laughs. It is actually pretty good in its humour, but then towards the end it turns very nasty. So it's kind of two films. The first 3/4 of the film is a comedy, but then the last quarter is just really nasty stuff. Gorehounds, you'll be very pleased with this one. If you like films like Shaun of the Dead, you will like this one, but this is a lot more serious than Shaun of the Dead. I actually felt Shaun of the Dead was a little bit more lighthearted, but very, very good. This one is a very nasty horror film, one of my favourite British horror films of all time. This is Eden Lake. Very, very depressing, very, very hard to watch, and one of the best endings you'll ever see. This is a great, great movie. For anyone who likes UK horror, this is an absolute must. Next is another very hard movie to watch, and this is called Mum and Dad. Very perverted. It's a low budget, so it has a very dirty feel, but this one surprised me. It was very, very good, but very disturbing, very perverted, very dirty. And I've done reviews for most of these films, so if you want more details on these films, feel free to check them out. The next one is kind of a UK version of Hatchet. This is called The Cottage. I did a review of this on the House of Horror, so once again, you want more details, please check that one out. I actually preferred this one over Hatchet. I thought that the humour in this film appealed to me more. I'm kind of more in tune with British humour than I am with American. Both films were good, but I actually felt that I enjoyed this one a lot more. It had really good humour and it had some good gore. The bad guy looked a bit stupid, but no, that didn't take away anything from the overall enjoyment of the film, because it's very, very good, and I highly recommend it, especially if you're a fan of Hatchet. Okay, this one is called The Children. I was disappointed with this one. It wasn't as good as I thought it would be. Some very good atmosphere, but it was a little bit mild, and I was expecting a little bit more. So I'm not going to recommend this one. It's a solid film. It's well acted, well directed. I just felt that it could have been a little bit more. So it's not one of my favourites. This is a classic, Shaun of the Dead, classic horror comedy. I'm not going to go on about it. Everyone's seen it. This is an absolute classic. I love this film. We're approaching the end. We've got two films. Now these are Irish films from Ireland. So we've got Dead Meat, which is a very gory, very funny Irish comedy. I highly recommend this one. Low budget, but the gore scenes were surprisingly very, very good. So if you're a gore hound, then I would definitely check this one out, because, as I said, there are some very good practical gore effects in this one. If you're a low budget fan, yeah, definitely get this one. Very good. Some of the Irish accents are a little bit hard to understand in some parts, but overall a very decent film. And the last one for this video is another Irish film called Isolation. Sensational atmosphere. I really enjoyed this one. If you're a fan of Alien or The Thing, I would highly recommend you go out and see this one. Not a lot of gore. It's not action packed, but it's a very slow build up, and it comes up for a very, very rewarding ending. So another very good Irish horror film. Alright guys, that's it for my part 6 UK Irish horror series. So I've got one more video for the series, so I'll be doing that one as soon as possible. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, I'll see you later.